My in-laws invited themselves to our ski trip and expected us to pay. I packed up and cut the vacation short. "Hi, I'm Joel." So there we were pulling into Timberline Mountain Resort, a place I'd been dreaming about visiting for 3 years. My wife Sophie and I had saved up for this trip, and I'd spent months planning every detail. Sophie looked at me with those warm hazel eyes I fell in love with and squeezed my hand. "I can't believe we're finally here, babe. This place looks even more incredible than the photos." "I know, right? Greg really came through with this discount. Still not cheap, but at least we're not paying full price," I said, thinking about my old fraternity brother who managed the resort. Sophie leaned back in her seat. "We deserve this. Work has been absolutely crushing both of us." "You can say that again. 8 months without a vacation is way too long," I replied, pulling into our designated parking spot. Greg said he'd meet us in the lobby. He's been texting me all week about how excited he is to catch up. We unloaded our Ford Explorer, the crisp Colorado mountain air filling our lungs. The resort was stunning, all cedar and natural stone, with a massive stone fireplace visible through the floor-to-ceiling lobby windows. Inside, my old friend Greg was waiting, his familiar grin lighting up his face. "Joel, Sophie, welcome to Timberline Mountain." Greg gave me a bear hug before turning to Sophie. "The conditions are absolutely perfect right now. You guys picked the ideal week to come." "Greg, this place is beyond incredible," Sophie said, looking around the rustic luxury lobby. "Thanks again for the friends and family discount." "Hey, what are brothers for? Besides, you're doing me a favor testing out our new Alpine suite. I want honest feedback," Greg replied, handing us our keys. "It's our newest accommodation, private hot tub on the deck, panoramic mountain views, the whole 9 yards. We'll definitely put it through its paces," I promised. Greg's wife, Rachel, appeared with a tray offering us welcome drinks. "You must be Joel and Sophie. Greg talks about you guys constantly. How was the drive up from Denver?" "Not too bad," I said. Traffic was surprisingly light for a Friday. "Well, you're here now, and you're going to absolutely love it," Rachel assured us. "We've arranged for private ski lessons tomorrow if you want them. First time on the slopes, right, Sophie?" "Is it that obvious?" Sophie laughed. "I'm a little nervous but excited." "You'll be carving like a pro by the end of the week," Greg said confidently. "Now let's get you two settled in. I'll give you the grand tour of your suite." Our suite exceeded every expectation. Spacious, beautifully appointed with floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the breathtaking mountain views. We spent our first day exploring the resort, enjoying an amazing dinner at the lodge's steakhouse, and planning our week ahead. The next morning, we hit the slopes. Sophie was a natural, picking up skiing faster than I'd expected. By afternoon, we were laughing and racing down the beginner trails together. "This is absolutely amazing!" Sophie shouted as we took a break at the Mid-Mountain Lodge. "Why didn't we start skiing years ago?" "Better late than never," I replied, clinking my hot chocolate against hers. "This is just day 1. We've got 6 more days of this." We returned to our suite, exhausted but happy. After a long soak in the hot tub under the stars, we were just settling in front of the gas fireplace when Sophie's phone rang. Her expression changed immediately when she saw the caller ID. "It's my dad," she said, her smile fading completely. I nodded, knowing her complicated relationship with her parents. Sophie stepped out onto the deck to take the call, and when she returned, her face had gone pale. "What is it?" I asked, already dreading the answer. "They're here," she whispered. "My parents are here at the resort right now." "What? How? Why?" I stammered, standing up from the couch. "Dad said they decided to surprise us and join our vacation. They're at the front desk trying to check in right now," Sophie explained, her hands trembling slightly. "Join us." "Sophie, we specifically planned this trip to be just the 2 of us. Your parents weren't invited," I said, trying to keep my tone measured. I know. Dad said they saw my Instagram post about the resort and thought it would be fun to make it a family trip. They drove 5 hours from Phoenix to get here, and they didn't think to call first to ask if we'd be okay with it." I was pacing now, my relaxation completely evaporated. "You know how they are, Joel. They just do what they want without asking." The doorbell rang. Sophie and I exchanged glances. When I opened the door, there they stood, Lawrence and Patricia Brennan, my in-laws, with matching designer luggage in hand. Surprise! Lawrence boomed, pushing past me into the suite. Wow, this place is seriously fancy. You kids sure know how to live it up. Hello, Joel, Patricia said coolly, following her husband inside. Sophie, darling, come give your mother a hug. Sophie awkwardly embraced her mother while I stood there, completely speechless. Mr. and Mrs. Brennan, I finally managed. This is unexpected. Best kind of surprise, isn't it? Lawrence laughed, already making himself comfortable on our leather couch. When Sophie posted those pictures, I told Patricia we should join them. It'll be a blast. So, here we are. Dad, we didn't know you were coming, Sophie said carefully. This suite only has one bedroom. Oh, that's no problem. Patricia waved dismissively. Your father and I can take the bedroom and you two can use the pull-out sofa. You're young. You can handle it. I exchanged incredulous looks with Sophie. Actually, I said, we booked and paid for this suite specifically for the two of us. Well, we're family, Lawrence said as if that explained everything. Now, about those lift tickets. Do we get the same discount you got? Your friend owns this place, right? I'm sure he can hook us up. Lawrence, Patricia scolded playfully. Don't be so forward. But yes, Joel, if you could arrange that, it would be much appreciated. These resorts charge an absolute fortune these days. Sophie stepped in, sensing my rising frustration. Mom, Dad, we didn't plan for this. The discount was a personal favor to Joel from his college friend. And your friend wouldn't extend that to your family? Lawrence looked at me challengingly. What kind of friend is that? One who runs a business? I replied flatly. Look, I don't mean to be rude, but you can't stay here. This suite is for two people. Nonsense, Lawrence boomed. Family sticks together. We'll make it work. Now, where can we put our bags? While Sophie tried reasoning with her parents, I stepped outside onto the deck and called Greg. I explained the situation, embarrassed to even have to make the call. Joel, don't worry about it, Greg assured me. I've seen this kind of thing before. Believe me, I can offer them a room at standard rates, but I can't extend the friends and family discount. That's just for you guys. I understand completely, I said, and I'm really sorry about this whole situation. Not your fault, man. Want me to come over there and help explain? No, I'll handle it, I said, though I wasn't sure exactly how. When I returned inside, Lawrence was already in our kitchen helping himself to the complimentary bottle of wine. Good stuff, he said, raising his glass to me. So what's the deal with the lift tickets? Did you talk to your friend? I took a deep breath. Mr. Brennan, Greg has a room available for you and Mrs. Brennan at the regular rate. The friends and family discount was specifically for Sophie and me. Regular rate? Lawrence scoffed. Do you know what they're charging? It's highway robbery. Dad, Sophie interjected. We didn't invite you. We planned this trip for months. It's our vacation. Well, excuse us for wanting to spend time with our daughter, Patricia said, her eyes welling with practiced tears. I suppose family means nothing these days. It's not about that, Sophie tried explaining. Sure sounds like it, Lawrence muttered. I thought your friend would be more accommodating, Joel. After all, it's not like the rooms are all booked. What's the big deal? That was the moment, the exact moment in this story where everything changed. I looked at Lawrence, then at Patricia, then at my wife's stressed face, and something in me just snapped. The big deal, I said calmly, is that you've shown up uninvited, expecting to take over our vacation, our suite, even our bed, and now you want discounts on top of that. Joel, Sophie started. No, Sophie, this has gone on long enough, I said firmly. Your parents have been pulling this kind of stunt for years. Remember our honeymoon in Maui? The surprise visit on Thanksgiving when we had plans with my family? The emergency that wasn't an emergency during your promotion interview? Lawrence puffed up indignantly. Now listen here. No, you listen, I interrupted. I'm packing our things and we're leaving. Leaving? Sophie and her parents said almost in unison. Yes, I'm not spending my hard-earned vacation catering to your entitlement. Not again, I said, heading toward the bedroom. You can't be serious, Patricia gasped. Sophie, talk to your husband. Sophie followed me to the bedroom, closing the door behind us. Joel, are you really planning to leave? She whispered. I am, but I'm not asking you to choose between me and your parents. I said, pulling out our suitcases. I love you, Sophie, but I can't do this anymore. Your parents show up, demand things, guilt you, and somehow we always end up giving in. Not this time. So, what are you saying? Sophie asked, tears forming in her eyes. I'm saying I'm going to another resort. You can come with me, or you can stay with your parents. It's your choice. But I need you to make it now. Sophie was silent for a long moment. Then she reached for her suitcase. I'm with you, she said quietly. We packed quickly, ignoring the protests from the other room. When we emerged with our luggage, Lawrence and Patricia stared at us in shock. You're actually leaving? Lawrence asked incredulously. Because we wanted to join your vacation? We're leaving, I confirmed. Because you showed up uninvited, expected us to give up our bed, and demanded discounts without a second thought about what we wanted. But where will you go? Patricia asked. That's not your concern, I replied. Sophie, you're choosing him over your own parents? Lawrence's voice rose. Sophie straightened her shoulders. I'm choosing respect, Dad. Call us when you're ready to understand that. We left them standing in our suite, mouths agape. At the front desk, I explained the situation to Greg, who was incredibly understanding. I've got you covered, he said, typing at his computer. There's a partner resort about 30 minutes away, Snow Peak Lodge. Same quality, maybe even nicer views. I'll make some calls and get you set up. Greg, I can't thank you enough, I said sincerely. Hey, family stuff is complicated, he shrugged. But for what it's worth, I think you're doing the right thing. What about my parents? Sophie asked hesitantly. They can stay in the room I offered at regular rate, or they can leave, Greg said simply. Their choice. An hour later, we were settling into our new accommodations at Snow Peak Lodge, which was, as Greg had promised, absolutely stunning. Sophie was quiet as we unpacked. Are you okay? I asked her. I think so, she said slowly. I've never stood up to them like that before. You were amazing, I told her, pulling her into a hug. I feel guilty but also relieved. Is that weird? Not at all, I assured her. We needed this boundary a long time ago. The next morning, Sophie's phone was flooded with text messages and voicemails from her parents. They ranged from angry to hurt to manipulative. She turned off her phone and we hit the slopes, determined to salvage our vacation. That afternoon, Rachel called me. You won't believe this, she said. Your in-laws tried to charge their stay to your account. They what? I nearly dropped my phone. Greg caught it immediately, Rachel assured me. But then they made a huge scene in the lobby demanding the friends and family discount because they're practically Greg's friends too, since you're friends. I am so sorry, I groaned. Don't be. Greg handled it beautifully. Told them they either pay the full rate or leave. They left, but not before your father-in-law threatened to leave a bunch of bad reviews online. Great, I sighed. Don't worry about it. Greg's documenting everything, but that's not all. They tried to go skiing this morning using your names at the lift. Are you serious? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dead serious. Claimed they were Joel and Sophie and that they'd lost their lift passes. Luckily, the staff had been alerted and asked for ID. When I told Sophie, she was mortified but not surprised. They've always been like this, she admitted. I just never let myself see how bad it was. Over the next few days, we enjoyed our ski vacation in peace. Sophie began opening up about her childhood, about how her parents had always pushed boundaries, expected special treatment, and used emotional manipulation to get their way. They once showed up at my college apartment unannounced during finals week and expected to stay in my one-bedroom place for 4 days, she recalled. When there wasn't space, they guilted my roommate into staying with her boyfriend so they could use her room. That's not normal, I said gently. I know that now, Sophie sighed. I just wish I'd realized sooner. On our last day, we returned to Timberline Mountain to thank Greg and Rachel properly. They insisted on treating us to dinner at the resort's fine dining restaurant. By the way, Greg mentioned casually over appetizers, your in-laws tried to dispute their credit card charge for the one night they stayed. You've got to be kidding me, I groaned. Nope. But I've got documentation, photos, signatures. They won't win that fight. And here's the kicker. They left such nasty reviews online that they actually got banned from our resort group's booking system. Banned? Sophie's eyes widened. Yep. all 20 resorts in our network. The reviews were so obviously false and vindictive that our legal team got involved. They tried claiming they were given dirty rooms, spoiled food, all sorts of nonsense, but they never even ate at our restaurants or stayed in the rooms they complained about. Rachel added, "The system flags reviewers who make demonstrably false claims. Your in-laws hit every red flag in the book." After returning home to Seattle, Sophie received an email from her mother. Apparently, Lawrence and Patricia had also tried to book a summer vacation at another resort in Greg's network, only to discover they were blacklisted. The email was full of blame and accusations, claiming we had ruined their reputation. "They ruined their own reputation," Sophie said firmly, deleting the email without responding. Over the next few months, the consequences of their actions continued to unfold. Lawrence and Patricia found themselves unwelcome at several high-end resorts and boutique hotels. Word had spread through the hospitality industry about their behavior. Their social media complaints backfired spectacularly when people recognized them as the entitled couple from viral staff stories about nightmare guests. Sophie's relationship with her parents changed fundamentally. She set clear boundaries, enforced them consistently, and for the first time in her life felt free from their manipulation. "They called yesterday," she told me one evening. "Dad actually apologized, not a real apology, but closer than I've ever heard from him." "What did you say?" "I told him I appreciate it, but that actions speak louder than words. If they want a relationship with us, they need to respect our boundaries." As for me, I was proud of my wife and relieved that we had finally addressed the elephant in the room that had been creating tension in our marriage for years. The following winter, we returned to Timberline Mountain Resort, just the two of us. Greg and Rachel welcomed us like family, and we had the peaceful, romantic getaway we'd wanted all along. "You know what's funny?" Sophie said as we watched the sunset from our hot tub. "My parents tried to book a cabin in Vermont for the holidays. Turns out that resort is also in Greg's network." "No way," I laughed. "They had to settle for a budget motel 2 towns over. Mom sent me pictures. It looked rough." "Do you feel bad?" "Not even a little bit," Sophie smiled. "They made their choices. They're dealing with the consequences." 6 months after our ski trip, Sophie's parents reached out again. This time, Lawrence's tone was different, humbler, more genuine. They asked if they could take us to dinner to apologize properly. We agreed cautiously. Over that dinner, Lawrence admitted they'd been entitled and disrespectful. Patricia even cried real tears, not the manipulative kind. "We've been going to therapy," Patricia said quietly. "The therapist helped us see how our behavior was pushing you away. It wasn't perfect, and trust would take time to rebuild, but it was a start. Today, our relationship with Sophie's parents exists with clear boundaries that we enforce consistently. They ask before visiting. They respect our plans. They don't expect special treatment or discounts. And when they slip up, because old habits die hard, we firmly but kindly remind them of the boundaries we've set. Sometimes standing your ground means walking away. And sometimes walking away is the best thing you can do for yourself and the people you truly care about. It's not easy, and it's not always pretty, but it's necessary. So, after hearing my story, what do you think is more important? Maintaining peace at all costs, or setting firm boundaries with family members who consistently disrespect you? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.